After 10 years of bullet journaling and 8 years of sharing my bullet journal online, I've reached a crossroads. And I feel like I have to share it with you because my bullet journal doesn't just belong to me, and that's part of the problem. This isn't even all of them. I can barely lift it. And these are all used notebooks, just so you know. I started bullet journaling a decade ago in 2014 as I was beginning my first contract on a cruise ship. I was working on the Disney Wonder as a performer, and on top of my regular duties as one of the 2 dance captains and the female swing for the entire cast, I also had daily obligations, shifts I had to work, and my schedule was not only changing every single day, but we were also going in and out of time zones every single day, which just added a whole other layer of chaos. It was a lot to take on at 22 years old. I was a bit overwhelmed. So to cope with it, I started using these tiny little pocket notebooks to write out my daily schedule. Every day, I would flip to a new page, write out my schedule for the day, remind myself that I needed to be in the atrium with Mickey at 11 a.m. and that we were jumping 2 hours back and that we had to be back from port by 5 o'clock for the first show, etc., etc. I truly don't think I would have gotten through those 6 months on board if I didn't have these little notebooks. So even though I'd never heard of bullet journaling at that time, that's exactly what I was doing. Once I returned to Canada and had reliable internet access, I quickly became aware of a system that was gaining traction, gaining popularity, that aligned with a lot of what I was already doing, and the rest is history. The first time I shared my bullet journal on this channel was in 2016, and by the next year, I was creating Plan With Me videos every single month. I planned, filmed, edited, and shared a monthly plan with me in my bullet journal on this YouTube channel every single month from March 2017 all the way to November 2024, with one single exception. That's 92 Plan With Me videos without fail until I missed one in October of this year for the very first time. I even created a second Plan With Me video every single month for several years there in the middle for my husband when he got into bullet journaling, plus other bullet journaling related videos that were how-tos, tutorials, general topics, advice, and more. I don't even want to know how many hours of bullet journaling content I have created and shared online since 2017. Relatively quickly, within a couple months, my bullet journal videos really started to take off in a way that my other content just wasn't. I was just making videos about things I was interested in, and anytime someone viewed or commented, that was a bonus. It was like meeting a friend on the internet. But when I started sharing my bullet journal videos, all of a sudden my videos were being seen by tens of thousands of people, and I was gaining subscribers, and people were excited to see what I would do the next month, and people started to recreate the themes that I was doing in my own bullet journal. Things just started to change really quickly. In 2018, I started to shift away from the content I was making before to almost exclusively planning and bullet journaling content with a little bit of other types of videos sprinkled in between. And by the next year, I'd gained enough subscribers and had enough consistent views that I actually quit my day job and started doing YouTube full-time. This was never my intention in creating a YouTube channel. I never thought it would be my job. It was always just a hobby. I loved watching YouTube as a preteen and teenager as it was emerging as a new platform. I loved consuming videos on YouTube, and so I wanted to make my own and to be part of the community. Like I said, I would occasionally share videos on other topics, but my channel was largely about bullet journaling. And that was a combination of my genuine love and passion for bullet journaling, but it was also practical because my bullet journal videos were the videos that got the most views, the ones that brought me any income that I could use to pay my rent and buy food. So of course I was going to lean into what was doing well that also happened to be something that I used every single day and was a hobby and something that I was excited about and wanted to talk about and share. Over the years, I taught myself how to paint with watercolors and gouache and tried more art styles than I can count, and just generally was really enjoying reconnecting with a childhood hobby that I had left behind. Visual art was something I loved as a kid, but I never felt particularly good at it. So as I got older and time was more limited and I had to focus in on just a few hobbies, visual art was left behind so I could focus on other forms of creative expression like music and dance. Some people really loved my artistic bullet journal spreads, but many others thought that what I was doing was not actually bullet journaling, but I was honestly just having a great time, and being creative and challenging myself and coming up with new themes every month was keeping me super locked in and engaged and passionate about my bullet journal, which is what allowed me to keep going with a bullet journal for so long. Because I have now since learned, after being diagnosed with ADHD at 30 years old, there is a reason why I have a habit of losing interest in a hobby after the max honeymoon period of about 2 months. And bullet journaling was staying fresh and exciting for me because I was incorporating art. And that allowed me to stay productive and organized for a very long time, which again is a great feat when you have ADHD, just saying. In January of 2020, I got back into another childhood hobby, reading, and I started sharing videos about my reading journey here on YouTube. I was having so much fun diving into one of my favorite childhood hobbies again and making time for it as an adult. It was bringing me a ridiculous amount of joy. And in the 4 years since, not only have I become a voracious reader again, just like I was for the first 15 years of my life, but I've also incorporated reading content on my channel at higher and higher frequencies, and by necessity, less and less bullet journaling content. Now, if you've just randomly stumbled across this video and don't know anything about bullet journaling, let me just give you a brief rundown of the history. Bullet journaling was a productivity system invented by writer Carol in 2013 and was intended as a customizable system to track tasks, organize ideas, and promote mindfulness. The simplicity yet flexibility of the system made it really appealing and accessible, not only to productivity enthusiasts, but also to creative hobbyists. And Carroll himself created the system because he struggled to stick with a traditional planner as someone with ADHD, like me. Bullet journaling started to enter more of the collective consciousness in 2016 and was ramping up in popularity and Google searches with millions of monthly queries. And this huge increase in popularity was really aided by social media and the changing social media landscape of the time, especially YouTube and Instagram, with hashtags like BuJo and bullet journal amassing millions of posts showcasing aesthetic and functional spreads. At its peak, the bullet journaling community fractured into two main factions. Advocates of minimalism emphasized functionality and simplicity, often just using a pen and a notebook. And this way of approaching bullet journaling was very aligned with writer Carroll's original vision for the system, and minimalists often claimed that their version of bullet journaling was the only true way to bullet journal. On the other hand, artistic bullet journalers had a very different approach. While artistic bullet journalers still focused on the productivity and functionality of the system, they spent just as much time, if not more, on making their BuJos beautiful. They transformed their bullet journals into a combination of productivity tool and creative outlet, incorporating calligraphy, painting, stickers, scrapbooking, monthly themes, and more. And the minimalist faction didn't really appreciate that the artistic spreads were getting a lot more attention online than their true to the original, functional, simple, minimalist spreads. And this caused a lot of division and angst in the community. By 2023, Google searches for terms related to bullet journaling had dropped significantly, and this is attributed to a combination of factors, from an increase in digital planning apps like Notion and changing trends, to burnout from the expectations to create perfect aesthetic spreads month after month, which is something I touched on in my Why You're Going to Quit Bullet Journaling video. I will link it in the description box if you want to watch that. My BuJo journey followed a similar trajectory to a lot of people who were bullet journaling from the beginning of the peak of popularity. I think a lot of us started with much simpler spreads with maybe a little bit of color, a little bit of calligraphy, maybe some extra effort put into a header here or there, evolving into something much more elaborate and time-consuming. And the reasons why this happened are manyfold and complex, but I would say the main reasons were a combination of changing trends and changing expectations of what people wanted to see from a bullet journal, and especially from a Plan With Me video. Coming to it as a creator whose livelihood depended on the success of my videos, the more intricate and artistic and beautiful I could make my spreads and my thumbnail, the more likely people were going to click and watch my videos and then try to recreate the themes and share their recreations online, tagging me, which would bring more people to my channel. And it was just this continuing loop. But also, I was just enjoying making art. Like I said, this was a creative outlet. This was me coming back into a hobby I had as a child. This was me teaching myself new mediums like watercolor and gouache and really enjoying the sense of calm and mindfulness that I got when I was sitting and just painting for hours on end. I was finding a lot of joy in the challenge and in that creative expression. And I also have a bit of a competitive perfectionist nature. So I kept wanting to one-up myself. I wanted every theme I made to be better than everything that came before. And I definitely did not achieve that. But even though my style of bullet journaling and how creative and artistic the spreads were changed over time, I was always pretty firmly in the artistic bullet journaling camp. And a lot of people didn't like that. More and more people were interested. The videos were getting more and more views. And this was affording me opportunities that I hadn't had before, like collaborating with one of my favorite notebook companies of all time, Archer and Olive, to design my own notebooks and have them produced and sold. And a bunch of people buying my notebooks and using them for their bullet journals, using them every single day, was just absolutely a dream come true. But like I mentioned, by 2023, Google searches were starting to drop pretty significantly for bullet journaling, and I definitely started to notice that shift. There was less interest in bullet journaling. Bullet journal videos were getting fewer views. Bullet journal creators were quitting left and right. Some of them making videos to announce their departure, others just disappearing into the ether forever. And I was really feeling that shift. I started to get a little worried, as one does when your livelihood depends on people watching videos you make, when, you know, videos were getting fewer views. But I'd also started making other types of content, like reading content, and my hope was that those videos would help to supplement as bullet journaling became a little less of a widespread, super popular thing and more of a niche interest for that core group that are going to stick with it for a really long time. I just kind of stumbled into being a bullet journaling creator. That was never my intention. I had been bullet journaling in my free time. It was a hobby I enjoyed, and I shared it on a whim and got a good response, so I shared about it again a couple times, and all of a sudden those videos were taking off and people were interested in seeing more, and it kind of snowballed into a whole career that I never expected or planned for. And I think a lot of that success came from being a bit ahead of the curve when it comes to plan with me style videos and bullet journaling creators and sort of catching the wave at just the right time. But also I think part of it was the fact that I wasn't a visual artist. I wasn't incredibly skilled from the start. I was teaching myself and slowly learning and slowly getting better month by month. And I feel like that was something that people could relate to and relate to me talking about making mistakes and having to start over, and relate to me talking about finishing a setup and spending so much time on it only to really hate how it turned out and feel like my skills weren't good enough to do what I wanted to do. And that felt really validating and very community building for me as a creator. And I felt that energy coming back. It felt like we were all in it together, figuring it out, learning new skills, and, you know, finding ways to make staying on top of our boring day-to-day lives more exciting and beautiful and joyful and pretty. And I really enjoyed it for those years. I was really passionate about it. I really loved coming up with new themes every month and somehow trying to make them work, learning new skills, challenging myself, sharing them, and getting crowdsourced suggestions for the next theme I should try. It was really, really fun, and it felt like I was part of a really exciting movement. But like I said, a lot has changed since I shared my first Plan With Me video. Not only have I grown up and my life has changed, I've moved across the country, I've bought a house, I've become an aunt, but also my interests have just shifted, which I think they do for a lot of people, even ignoring the fact that I have ADHD, which can definitely impact the cycling of hobbies. I think most humans go through periods of life and different seasons of their life where they're more focused on one hobby or another, or more focused on one area of their life rather than another. And I have seen that already so many times in my life, and it feels like it's happening again. And it's really in all areas of my life, but I feel like it's most palpable right now in my creative expression. And part of that is because my creative expression has been so tied to bullet journaling and to my career for the last couple years. But as much as I have loved diving back into visual art and exploring it, and also finding my own sort of inner confidence as an artist, I still hesitate to call myself an artist. It gives me imposter syndrome feelings. I don't know that I am one, but I genuinely love creating visual art. I genuinely love drawing and painting. And that's something that is really special and that I'm really grateful for, and something that I can attribute to bullet journaling. But I have other interests, you know? When I first went full-time on YouTube as a bullet journaling YouTuber, it was my day job, so I could continue to pursue my actual career, what I went to school for, which was musical theater. I was performing professionally in musicals through that time, and YouTube was my day job. And eventually, with an injury and COVID, I retired from performing, and YouTube became my only focus. And I went from having that outlet to basically my only creative expression being visual art. And it was awesome for a while, but I started to crave other forms of creative expression, and I started diving into other childhood hobbies that I had left behind for a long time, things like knitting and sewing, especially now that I'm an aunt. I want to make stuff for my nephew. He's so tiny and cute, and I just want to make stuff for him. With my hands that he can wear, toys that he can love and play with. I've also, in the last couple months, been rediscovering my love of piano, which is, again, something I studied for a long time as a child and loved, but I haven't had a piano in my house for several years now. And my husband bought me a piano for my birthday this year. And so for the last couple months, I've been playing piano for, I would say, easily at least an hour a day. And that's an hour I can't spend on other creative things because I'm spending it sitting at the piano, and I'm loving that. It is bringing me so much joy. It is fulfilling me in a brand new way. I don't think there's anything wrong with allowing yourself to move with the tides of your life and enjoying different hobbies and different creative outlets and different forms of creative expression at different times in your life. And I don't think that's wrong for anyone else, but I feel like I've been trying to hold myself to a different standard. And I've just recently realized that not only is that not fair, but it's not sustainable. And I don't want to do it anymore. And that's not to say that I don't like painting or drawing anymore. It's not to say that I don't value visual art anymore, or that I see myself never creating another painting for as long as I live. I'm actually almost 100% certain that I will continue to create visual art for the rest of my life, but it just might be more sporadic than it's been in the last couple of years. And I think that's okay. I'm actually really excited about seeing how my relationship to visual art and to painting is going to shift as I move away from art in service of a bullet journal. If I allow myself to create art just to create art and just for myself, what is that going to look like? What kind of art am I going to make? And how am I going to make it? That's really exciting to me, but I think I need to give myself time to take a rest from this period of my life and let that grow organically. Let the urge and the inspiration to create in that way grow again within me, if that makes any sense at all. I think it's really normal for priorities to shift over time like this, and I don't feel like a failure. Honestly, if 10 years of bullet journaling and 8 years of monthly Plan With Me videos on YouTube, 2 monthly Plan With Me's a month for several months in the middle there, if that is failure, then I don't know what success looks like. Because this is the most consistent I have been with any hobby, with very few exceptions for my entire lifetime. Bullet journaling is up there with dance and music as hobbies that have become part of my DNA because I was so consistent with them for so long and they were so intrinsic to my identity. Again, if that's failure, then I don't know what success looks like. If success is only doing something every day until you die, very few people are successful. And I don't think writer Carol himself would expect people to use a bullet journal every day for the rest of their days until they die to be bullet journalers or to feel like they achieved something. I don't think he even cares if you do achieve something. I think he just wanted his system to help people like it helped him, and it certainly helped me. And I hope that some of the people that I introduced to bullet journaling through my videos, or some of the people who learned new techniques or methods of bullet journaling or layouts from me, that I helped them. That's really all we can hope for in this life. You know? And I'm really proud of what we built together on this channel, the community that grew out of nothing here, the love and the support, the shared sense of curiosity and creativity and wonder and just kindness that was really beautiful to see and really meant a lot to me through a difficult time. I think a lot of people have a rough time through their 20s. It can be a very turbulent time full of a lot of personal growth. I have always been someone who spends a lot of time alone or with, one person at a time. And for the most part, that's been great. But there are also times in my life when I felt incredibly lonely, especially as a YouTuber. Being a YouTuber can be so isolating. You can feel so deeply alone, just sitting in your house, talking to a camera by yourself, then sitting and editing it by yourself and sharing it out into the world and kind of feeling like you're yelling into a void all by yourself. And to have people receive it and react to it and comment on it and share it and just be there on the other side is really special. And I really feel like what we built in that time, it was the people who watched the videos who made it what it was. There was something really special about that community, and I have mourned it over the last year or two as bullet journaling as a trend, as a phenomenon has changed and dissipated somewhat. I have felt that shift in the community, and I think I've realized that I tried to hold on for longer than I needed to, and some of that was out of fear of letting go and doing something different. Bullet journaling is what made my channel a success. It's what made me into a full-time YouTuber, and letting go of that piece of my channel feels a little bit like taking a plunge off a cliff. But I also know in my heart and my gut that it's time. It's actually past time. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to explore different things and let myself enjoy different things. I'm ready to spend the time that I have spent on creating Plan With Me's every single month on other things. So I guess the big question is, am I just retiring Plan With Me videos from my channel, or am I quitting bullet journaling altogether? And the answer is no, sort of. It's complicated. Let me explain. So first of all, yes, I am no longer going to be sharing Plan With Me's on my channel. I have no plans to make more Plan With Me videos. Never say never. I might really miss it and want to come back. Who knows? But as of now, I am ready to leave my November Plan With Me as my sort of goodbye Plan With Me video. That one felt really special, painting Green Gables, and I was proud of that painting, but it also kind of felt like a goodbye to me. So for now, that's where I'm gonna leave it. In terms of my actual day-to-day planning though, I will still be using the bullet journal system moving forward, but I won't be using a traditional bullet journal anymore. I'll be bullet journaling or taking what I have adapted into my life from the bullet journal system within a planner. So I bought this planner. It's gorgeous. Admire its beauty from Archer and Olive. It's a B5 size, which is what I've been using for years. Very familiar. This beautiful vegan leather embossed cover. I'm obsessed with it. But instead of being a blank notebook with dots, it's a pre-dated planner. So we have monthly spreads, weekly spreads, one blank dotted spread per month, and then a little sort of cover page for each month as well. This is what I'm going to be using moving forward. I've actually already started using it because it goes from November 2024 to December 2025. And I wanted to start trying it out as soon as it arrived, just to make sure that it would work for me in my life before committing to it, so I would have time to make other plans. But so far, even though the weekly layout is not exactly as I personally would do it, it is more than sufficient for my needs. I can still do a rolling weekly to a certain extent. I can still plan my days with my priority tasks using the same key I've always used. I have a monthly calendar already pre-made that I can use for appointments and deadlines and all of that good stuff. I think this will work for me very well, and it's been working well for me the last couple weeks that I have been trialing it. So yes and no. I'm sure different bullet journalers will have different opinions on whether this counts as bullet journaling or not. But again, I'm kind of past caring how other people define my bullet journal. People have been saying that I don't have a real bullet journal or am not bullet journaling basically since the beginning. So again, it doesn't really bother me if people think it's bullet journaling or not. I am still using the same systems and mindset and the key and different types of bullets to mean different things, and a lot of the philosophies that I learned through the bullet journaling system. And to me, that is the core of what bullet journaling has meant to me. So to me, I'm still bullet journaling, just I'm not drawing the lines in the monthly calendars and the weeks anymore. And again, I have no concrete plans to do any art in here. I might Some months just color in the cover pages that are already there or paint in the lines. Some months I might really be inspired to create my own art and paste it on top of the cover image. Maybe some months I'll want to do a bit of a scrapbook or put in a picture of my cats. I don't know. Maybe I won't do anything. Maybe I'll just pretend those pages don't exist. I'm excited to let it flow and just do whatever I feel like and not have to plan it in advance and produce a video about it. It's gonna be great. So yes and no. You can tell me in the comments if you think this counts as bullet journaling. This is kind of the core of my system moving forward, but this isn't the entirety of my system because over the last couple of years, even as I've continued to bullet journal in a more traditional sense, I have started incorporating more and more digital planning tools into my system. I have found that a lot of the things that I initially started out tracking in my bullet journal was just becoming really hard to manage, especially as a person who works for myself, has a kind of chaotic, fast-paced job, and has ADHD. I was losing things frequently. I was struggling to stay on top of video ideas and brainstorming and random notes and all the different trackers I had. It was just, I couldn't stay on top of it, and I also could not be bothered to recreate them and sort of move them from journal to journal. After a couple times, I didn't want to do it anymore. So over the years, I have started moving more and more of those spreads out of my bullet journal into digital systems. And in the last 2 years or so, most of those systems have converged within Notion. So Notion is sort of the second piece of the puzzle. It's the second point of my little planning trifecta moving forward. Notion has already become a really important part of my system, especially for work scheduling and work planning. All my content ideas are in there. Scripts or just plans for videos are in there. All the information I need for sponsorships I keep in there. That's my content calendar. A bunch of personal things. My whole reading tracker is in Notion. I have a video about that. I track home projects in Notion. I have a video about that. I also track things like my sewing projects. I have a database of all my sewing patterns in Notion. I track knitting projects in there, on and on and on. So basically my Art Journal of Planner is my monthly, weekly, daily planning, and my Notion is my larger scale, yearly and multi-year tracking, organization of ideas. All my notes are in there. I backed up my entire Evernote, many hundreds of notes into Notion. So that's kind of my long-term tracking and organization, brain dumping, etc. And this is my day-to-day planning, tasks, appointments that are coming up, etc. Because I do need an analog system for some things. I did actually test out using Notion as my bullet journal, going fully digital, and it did not work. I tried it for about 3 weeks and it was terrible. I kept forgetting it was there. I just really struggled with writing tasks. Having to type tasks felt very unnatural. It just was not working for me, and I very quickly went back to my bullet journal. So I definitely need some form of an analog system, some pen to paper, but Notion is filling the gaps for all those larger collections, as the bullet journal community would say. But those are still only 2 pieces of the puzzle, only 2 points on my planning trifecta, because I have also found over some of my experimentation over the last couple months that, as I said, there are some things that I just need to put pen to paper for. I need something that feels analog. I need that tactile feedback, I guess. I don't know what it is about the way my brain works, but sometimes I just have to write things by hand. Sometimes voice to text on my phone has been the bridge for that gap for me, because the next best thing to writing things by hand for me is just verbally workshopping them, just speaking them aloud. But I've been pretty disappointed, honestly, with the quality of voice to text on my phone. And I swear every update it gets worse. So that's been a very frustrating experience, especially going back a while later and just not being able to interpret large swaths of text because they just make no sense at all. And then of course, I've had the issue where when I do decide to go with the more analog, tactile, pen to paper route, I end up with random notes on random scraps of paper or in random notebooks, tucked into pockets and slid under my keyboard and eaten by cats, and I can never find them when I need them. It's been a very frustrating experience. I've been really struggling with finding those things later and then also having to convert them to text if I want to store them in any way that is going to be organized and searchable at a later date. Having to retype something I already wrote out by hand is something I very infrequently have the patience for, or the time, to be honest. But luckily, I have found a solution and I'm really excited about it. So this is where I want to thank this video's sponsor, iFLYTEK, and I want to tell you about their brand new tablet, the AI Note Air 2. This thing is amazing. I'm so excited. This super lightweight, super slim tablet honestly fits all of those little extraneous needs of mine so perfectly that it honestly feels like it was built for my life. And every day that I use it, I find more ways to use it, and I'm very excited about it. So this little guy, the AI Note Air 2, has so many amazing features, but I'm going to focus on the ones that, again, are those gaps that I was really struggling with filling in this new trifecta productivity system. And of course, this is the final point in my little trifecta. The first area is taking notes. So whether I am taking notes during a meeting with my manager, or brainstorming a script for a video, or just jotting down content ideas, or I need to write out an hour by hour schedule of my day because I'm just having one of those days where I cannot focus to save my life and I don't have enough space in my planner's weeklies to do so, this tablet is going to be what I'm using. It's going to live on my desk for the most part, but it is so lightweight with the 8.2-inch e-ink screen, but also this super thin profile that it's really easy to just carry around with me in the house or even take with me to go. What's great about it is not only can I write on the screen with the stylus as if I'm writing with a pen on a piece of paper, and it's such a lovely experience writing with this pen on this screen. The combination of the super soft paper-like e-ink screen with a 293 ppi display and this stylus, it's just a match made in heaven. Super low latency, really paper-like feel, lots of options for pen type and line weight, and a really fun eraser on the back that is just delightful to use. But I can then transform my handwritten notes into typed text, even my cursive. It can recognize my cursive, which is a big plus. And then I can use those typed versions of my handwritten notes in a bunch of different ways. I can save them in easily searchable databases. I can email them to people. I can turn them into scripts. So many options. But it's not just the handwritten notes converted into text that I'm so excited about. The AI Note Air 2 has some of the most amazing voice-to-text technology I have ever experienced. It's honestly incredible. So if I'm just talking out ideas for a video, something I do frequently, as I mentioned, I can do that with the AI Note Air 2, which has much more accurate voice to text by a significant degree than my smartphone. But it's not just great for me being able to workshop my videos aloud. It's also amazing in a variety of settings. So if I'm in a meeting with my manager, for example, I can have my AI Note Air 2 recording the meeting and creating an automatic transcription, identifying different speakers, and I can label the different speakers so they'll come up in the transcript with our names. But I can also simultaneously take notes by hand and they'll be synced in the proper time in the transcript. So I can review everything later, either by reading the transcript or by listening back to the recording. I can also just selectively listen to certain parts of the recording by going to specific portions of the transcript. It's brilliant. And it's not just a single language. I've already tested it in both English and French, and it's worked amazingly for both. So I'm actually also really excited to use this for some of my French practice, making sure that I'm pronouncing things correctly, because if I mispronounce, then it will probably not be picked up correctly by the transcription technology. So it's that extra pressure for me to make sure I'm pronouncing everything accurately, even when I'm practicing by myself. I love it. The AI Note Air 2 even has a schedule management feature. So if you want to go fully digital with all your systems, but you still want to have that pen to paper sort of feeling, the AI Note has you covered. Everything on the AI Note Air 2 can be synced to their app. So I can access all my notes on a different device if I leave my tablet at home. I can also scan documents into the device or email them to myself on the device and read them and make use of their amazing annotating features. And we all know how I feel about annotating features. Hint. I love them. And the cherry on top is that it's super gentle on the eyes because it's a lovely e-ink display. This truly feels like the perfect final piece of my new planning system trifecta. I'm really trying to lean into what works for me and my weird brain. And what works for me is allowing myself to dictate things and write things by hand to really have that tangible, organic feeling of getting my ideas out, getting my creativity out, but then having them in a digital format that's really easy to organize, file away, and search, so I never lose an important note again. Thank you so much to iFLYTEK for sponsoring this video. I am so ridiculously excited about the AI Note Air 2. I was already over the moon excited when I was first looking into it and seeing all the features, but the more I use this, the more I find really incredible, awesome, fun ways to incorporate it into my life, whether it's finding new ways to practice my French with it, morning pages, doing some journaling, or even something like, if my therapist is on board, recording my therapy sessions on this so I get a full transcript that I can refer to later and I don't immediately forget all the amazing advice my therapist gives me, and even being able to take notes about extra things that it's making me think of that I could bring coming up in a future session without interrupting the flow, as I tend to do because I'm worried I'm going to forget things. There are so many use cases for this. I'm so excited about it. So thank you again to iFLYTEK for sponsoring this video. Click the link in my description box to check out iFLYTEK and to get your own AI Note Air 2. If you're anything like me, this is going to be that perfect final piece of the puzzle to allow you to marry perfectly together the analog and digital systems in your life. This truly is that perfect final piece, the bridge between all my different systems that I've been waiting for. So thank you again to iFLYTEK for sponsoring this video. Click the link below to check them out, and I'm going to be using this a lot, all day, every day. I already am. It's amazing. So whether this is the end of an era or a brand new beginning, one thing is very certain. Bullet journaling has shaped my life in so many more ways than I could have ever expected when I picked up my first little tiny pocket notebook in 2014. Thank you for your part in my bullet journaling journey. If you've been here for a year or 2 or 3 or even the full 8, I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for enjoying my videos. Thank you for commenting and engaging with me and making me feel less alone in a world and job that can be so incredibly isolating. I hope you've enjoyed your time here. I hope you've learned something or found some nugget of inspiration or just found comfort and camaraderie. And I really hope you stick with me as I continue my journey, as I enjoy art, discuss art, analyze art, and create art. Because at the end of the day, no matter what mediums I'm engaging in art through, I am an artistic person. I am a creative person. Art is why I'm here, and I love sharing that with you. I hope you'll stick around as I share my creativity in brand new ways. I have some really exciting plans. Oh, and don't worry, I'll still be sharing my reading journal. I'm still going to be doing reading journal setups at the start of the year and flip throughs, and I'll be creating spreads in my reading journal. So journaling is not going to be gone altogether. That's not going away. Don't worry. Anyway, I have been talking for so much longer than I expected to, so I think I'm going to wrap this up here. It's very hard to say goodbye to something that has been such a big part of my life and my job and my YouTube channel for 8 years, but it's time. So I would love to hear in the comments your experience with bullet journaling, your journey. Are you still bullet journaling? Has your system shifted and changed over the years? Have you found a new way to bullet journal, or have you moved away from bullet journaling and found a different system that works better for you in this season of your life? Or maybe you were a brand new bullet journaler and you just found my channel, in which case I'm so sorry, but I do literally have hundreds of bullet journaling videos that are not going anywhere that you can watch on this channel, so there's a lot of backlog to catch up on. But leave your comment down below. I would love to hear about your journey as well, because I just rambled on for literally 2 hours about mine. So I want to hear about yours now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much. I honestly can't tell you how much. You've truly changed my life. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you really soon in my next one. Bye, friends. Wow, damn, that really hit me. I didn't expect to get so emotional all of a sudden. I'm being so dramatic. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna put out another video next week. It's fine. I feel like if I stop this recording, I'm officially done, and that feels really sad. Change is good. Evolution is good. Transformation is good. Finding new ways to express creativity and appreciate art is good. It's all good.